All right. Hello and welcome to Steins episode 7 review. We're doing these episode by episode. I may not have a lab coat, but I have my robe on for this one and probably the next two because we're doing 3 a sitting. Before we begin, I forgot if I mentioned about the along the lines of the Tomoya After Story visual novel and all the ones all the Clan-Eddie ones. In comparison to others, there's a policy which I think, in my opinion, is a silly policy. You're not allowed to vlog those ones past a certain time limit or whatever the case. I think that's just silly. I think people's passion for the series, all those top YouTubers and stuff like that, they could, if you let them do a let's play of your game, the amount of sales from that would just be bonkers. I've gotten games because of how enjoyable YouTubers have been able to portray things and the passion they've had for them. So I think it's a very dumb policy for like Tomoya After Story and Clan-Ad, the visual novels, for them to have a policy against being able to vlog them and stuff like that. The reason I got them was to hopefully vlog them and at least with Tomoya After, be able to give my reaction and all that. But nonetheless, it's just a frustration. I can't believe that they'd have such a policy. I never would even think to even check, but somehow I learned of it. It's just silly in my opinion. Silly. I think it would help with sales, not detriment sales. Heck, I got them when I had seen them. Not Tomoya After. I'm thinking about still doing a blind reaction to it, but it just wouldn't be the same because you couldn't follow along. It would just be impossible. But anyhow, we continue our descent within the Steins Gate universe here. So we had Moeka essentially becoming a required lab member because she learned everything. They totally messed up. Okabe let her just walk all over the lab and the IBN 5100, and she just pushes, and he just moves the goalpost to satisfy her. And then they started rambling about their time machine and time travel. And then it was at that point where he couldn't deny it. So Moeka is a lab member. And then she had the weird could it be FB moment, which is very mysterious. I still don't know if it was purposely to him or not purposely to him. If it was meant for another and she sent it to the wrong person, whatever the case. I don't know. It would be neat to hear from others if they know which way it is. I don't know. Anyhow, Okabe rips off the microwave door on accident, thus ruining their time machine device. Moeka takes Okabe's photo against his wishes. He just lets it slide. Baka. That's all I can think of. During this kind of stuff, it's just baka. How dumb. They're just letting her go full throttle, no restraints. They just gotta throw full trust onto her. The way I kind of see it is Okabe has his inner circle and outer circle. Inner circle is him, Mayushi, and Daru. Outside of that, Makise, and now Moeka, along with Suzuha, I guess. So, 3 in, 3 out. That's the way I see it. And Daru did an upgrade to the machine to be able to send D-mail to any particular phone, not just Okabe's phone now. It has more broad potential. Moeka wants confirmation about the time machine. She wants to confirm everything. Okabe checks to see if Mr. Braun is away so that they can do experiments and cause a ruckus upstairs. They're on the second floor. Mr. Braun's TV shop is on the first floor. So, stealing, rattling, everything. Suzuha outside is working on a bike, probably eavesdropping some more, listening in on the unfolding events. Because they leave the darn window open. They leave the window open, and she can hear things from down there. And then we get a tuturu, miushi desu. Then we get Nei introduced, Mr. Braun's daughter. I'm curious. I'm very curious with Nei. They left something out of the anime that was in the visual novel. Not going to mention what. Not going to mention the spoileries. But I will say I am very curious if that is going to be implemented into Steins Gate Zero. Because I'm pretty sure that would be one of the most significant, heavy things people would be talking about if, given that people are saying that Steins Gate Zero is going to be considerably darker than Steins Gate. Whoa, Steins Gate was dark enough, thank you very much. Oh boy. Very dark, especially that one thing, which is later on. Oh my goodness. That one thing went too far, in my opinion. That one thing later goes too far. That's where I get considerably disturbed by it, and don't want to know, don't want this or that to be on the screen. Don't want to see the sword, because that kind of stuff is the weak spot. Very particular things. Some people have it in common. But anyhow, Nei is Mr. Braun's daughter, and whoever mentions that isn't what he's called, so maybe someone called Mr. Braun Nei, or whatever the case. I don't know. Maybe Okabe was trolling him. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just going based on my core notes here. Doing as literal a review as possible. So the experiments are ran. The text is sent back in time yet again. Moeka confirms it as real to herself. Nei wonders what happened, and then there's a zoom-in shot on Suzuha. You know, aka Suzuha knows and is overhearing things. She knows what's going on. Suzuha, or Nei, on the other hand, she's oblivious to what's going on up there. It's a pretty good illusion. Not illusion, allusion. Moeka asks what their meetings are about, what their meetings are, and she spams to Okabe. She can't just talk person to person. She just texts through the phone. Send. Okabe claims to do a new experiment to change the past in a bigger way. In a bigger way, more than just a mere flimsy text. He wants to change it in a bigger way. He wants to change the past more significantly than a random text to the past. He wants to pick out some winning lottery numbers. Mayuri gets disappointed in him and wills to use time travel for only good things, not to enrich the lab. So Moeka briefly disappeared. Okabe pans around, finds her at the IBN 5100. She asks once again, wanting to move the goalposts on him. She wants to borrow the IBN 5100, the device that can save the world. They box it up to keep it safe from her. Christina is tasked to keep Moeka from wandering off. And Mayuri holds Moeka's hand in a very friendshipy way, and she does take notice of it. And Mayuri gives Moeka a tour of the lab. So they're being all friendly with her. She's now one of them. She's now a lab mem. She's one of them. They're treating her just fine. And then that, probably lesser so, but that Moeka shot her staring into space kind of disturbingly. Kind of weird. And then the lab investigates the lottery and they decide to aim for a lower prize so as to not gain too much attention upon themselves, or else it would look suspicious. The last thing they want is for a bunch of outsiders getting curious when they have a time travel device. So they aim for 700,000 yen. I forget which prize it was, maybe 3rd or 10th prize or whatever the case. Which I assume to be, I don't know, like 70,000 USD. I don't know. Anyhow. Mayuri gives the tour to Moeka. Moeka takes all these photos, shots. So she essentially knows the layout of the lab well at this point. And I was going over the same notes. I wondered why that was the same. Anyhow, forget that little bit. That did not re-happen unless we went back in time. No, wait. It might be. Okay, never mind. Whatever the case. And then Moeka just kind of emotionally stale, just staring into space, kind of phased or dazed, whatever, from Mayuri being kind to her. Kind of creepy, kind of this and that. I don't know, just gives off some vibes. And Okabe is to send the text to the past with the winning lotto number influencing himself, and the lab essentially to win the 700,000 yen ticket. Moeka gets photos of Okabe and Makize, and then once again Moeka staring into space. There's certain characters that kind of just are like zoned, and their eyes are a certain way that they're kind of just the way it's presented, it looks just a certain way that they are just zoned and staring off into space. Mocha would kind of be one of them. She's just kind of staring out there, probably because she was on her phone too much. If you're on your phone too much, you get used to kind of just, or whatever device, you kind of just get used to that kind of a thing. So anyhow, the text is sent back. The divergence number changes, like that in the first episode. The group says he's. So then we get to the point where the world changes. The divergence number changed. I apparently didn't jot it down, but nonetheless, the group, he inquires of them. They say he's been standing still for around 30 seconds. He is essentially at just prior to when he hit send, and asks of the lotto ticket changing the past. They have no idea what he's talking about. And I'm getting mind-boggled just even speaking my notes. I'm getting mind-boggled just from that. So they all send the dang thing back to the past, and they don't know what he's talking about now. He's at prior to when they send the note now. It hasn't been sent. He checks his phone, and 30 seconds were lost, but the text has been received. 2010-7-29 at 12:24 in 2 parts. He got the message. We get a Daro Hintai moment. And Ruka, I think in the visual novel it's Luca. I don't know why they changed it, but Ruka, I don't know why there's a difference. I don't know which one's the original or whatever the case. Ruka arrives with the ticket and is upset that it is a failed ticket. They sent the winning lotto ticket back to numbers in the past. Ruka got the ticket for the lab and it failed. It was the wrong number. Okabe gave the numbers a week prior. It is said that he was given the numbers for the ticket. And she oh boy. She failed to remember one of the numbers. So it wasn't necessarily that the number they sent back was wrong, but one character remembered the number wrong. So it was Ruka's fault. And I wrote she failed to remember. I think we need one of those moments here. Ruka is a dude. He failed to remember. All right. Moeka thinks he used the phone to get one. Moeka thinks he used the phone to get one number off the winning lotto ticket. Whatever the case. This stuff is so confusing. His actions rewrote the past. The memories of prior outside of himself are gone. Just like episode 1. Okabe ponders over things a little bit. We get Dr. Pepper, the best drink according to scientists, so long as you want to keep your teeth. And probably healthier stuff than that. I think it's all sugar. Whatever the case, you know what I mean. Suzuha once again looks at some sort of pin. Nei asks about it. She says it is something important to her. Interesting. Okabe asks her of the tremors of his lab. A while back one, but not the 10-minute ago one, which was his last. Oh boy, at this point it's like, oh, okay. Good luck following everything. I like this kind of a thing that has the depth and layers that it's hard to follow. It's hard to get everything so precise and understand every single step and what it indicates and who knows what and this and that and keeping track of every little thing that happens or gets erased that happens or you know, oh man. We get a Daru hentai moment. And then Suzuha reveals she overheard, of course she did, the window's open. She overheard their talk of time machines, but she'll keep it a secret. She'll keep it under wraps. See, this is that inner circle, outer circle type thing. 3 are outside the inner circle of trust, and 3 are within. So, that's kind of risky. 3 in, 3 out. Plus, the window open, others can hear. Good grief. She recommends Okabe to ask John Titor for advice if he's ever having trouble with the ongoing process. Okabe ponders about the divergence number, world lines, memories being erased, the Ruka having not bought a lotto ticket and then did buy a lotto ticket. Current world never sent back the number, and yet they did, and they don't recall, but he does. It never occurred, and yet it did. I just start smiling because it sounds so confusing. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Okabe acts a bit odd. Probably his Chinibu side. Ponders maybe he is brainwashed by the organization. Suzuha quickly grabs him and stares into his eyes to check. Like legit. Confirms that he hasn't been chipped, so he has no brainwashing going on. Mr. Braun arrives with Okabe and Nei alone right outside, and he is defensive of Nei with Okabe around. Nei accidentally tells on Suzuha slacking. She was not supposed to say la-di-da-di-da, and she said she's not supposed to say la-di-da-di-da, something along those lines. And then it makes for a little bit of comedy. Then isn't it that gomenazai line? Or gomenasai? Gomenazai or gomenasai type of line. He runs in there. So anyhow, Okabe directed back to John Titor. Okabe emails John Titor of things. Okabe calls off the experiments for now. Makise stays at the lab. Okabe tells her he is talking to John Titor. Moaka emails to tell for them to tell her all about the time machine next time. She wants even more information. Daru made some sort of mistake, left his wallet at the lab, and he's at the May Queen Nyanya, and the cafe kicked him out. Essentially his nightmare. Mayuri calls to check on him if he's okay. And John Titor, the voice actor there, the dub voice actor, definitely heard that in multiple places, but I forgot where else it's heard. Is it the narrator for Hunter x Hunter? No. Where did I hear him before? I can't recall. We gotta hurry up and end this off because we got 2 more. Holy moly. John Titor explains to Okabe about the world lines changing. Okabe explains what had happened twice to him, and John Titor with a 2036 D-mail was not thought of in the future, but altering world lines was a legitimate reality. So he finds it to be an oddity that Okabe has some sort of ability to remember other world lines. So he is essentially that would make things possible to push the world beyond 1% divergence. Okabe asks more of what John Titor's spouting off about in the email. True freedom. The barrier of 1% must be crossed to get a utopia instead of a dystopia. Okabe, and this is really, really good how they delivered this sucker. They delivered this sucker perfectly. Okabe is the sole chance to save the future, and John Titor wants his help to do such, and asks him to be their savior of the world, to save the world. It's up to him. Oh my gosh, when you talk about heavy, that is heavy. That is heavy. I like that. I very much like that. And then we get a shot of Moaka doing essentially nothing, kind of half staring at her phone, kind of doing nothing, but kind of just like waiting against an overhang railing or roof type thing. Very bizarre. And it's weird what they do with the angle type stuff there. Then we get a bit that I don't know if it's explainable or not. We get kind of like a mostly outside of the criticals naked shot of the top half of Makise Kurisu with purple hair at the end of the credits, which is kind of confusing to me. It probably has some sort of deep symbolism. That's all I could fathom, but we probably shouldn't go there for now. But I'm sure someone has really good speculation and meaning behind it. So there's got to be something to it. But anyhow, that's that. I gotta go with my favorite moment being when Okabe feels all the weight of the world there. John Titor, the time traveler, essentially says, "You're the guy who can fix everything. It's up to you to fix everything." So that's a lot of weight. Fate of the world on him. That is my favorite part of the episode. So anyhow, thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for more of the Steins episodic review. Very worthy of a review episodically. Hopefully, one day I'll be able to give a re-review of the whole thing, the show as a whole, and in a new review system and format where I actually have a scoring system for it. So anyhow, thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for more. I will see you up ahead. Let me know your thoughts on the episode, or what your favorite moment was. As always, take her cool.